We're onto something big here, and it affects all of you. It's the food pyramid, which turns out is a pyramid scheme.
Heart disease and stroke will claim the lives of 460,000 American women.
Have you ever doubted the accuracy of the dietary information we receive? Lately, I've been deeply frustrated by the deception behind the food pyramid, and I want to share the truth with you. Brace yourselves, because this revelation could change your perspective on food forever. I remember learning about the food pyramid in school, a helpful visual aid for maintaining a balanced diet. However, it's possible that the food pyramid was not designed with our best interests in mind, which is something to consider. We're onto something huge here, impacting all of you. It turns out that the food pyramid is a pyramid scam. It is concerning that heart disease and strokes are expected to claim the lives of 460,000 individuals in the US, partly because the average American has gained an extra 23 pounds. Prostate cancer is currently the most common cancer among American men, while diabetes has been posing a serious threat since 1975. The prevalence of type 2 diabetes has increased more than threefold among Americans, highlighting the negative impact of the Western diet. This situation should serve as a wake-up call for us to realize that we have a growing problem and are contributing to it. It's worth noting that the USDA needed to develop a food guide in the 1970s, which later became the food pyramid, to distribute to the general public. A team of specialists was hired, but unfortunately, one was Lois Light. Although dedicated to nutrition, she caused some issues with high-ranking officials. Despite this setback, Lois Light quickly proposed a new food plan that was quite good. Her plan recommended 5 to 9 servings of fresh fruit and vegetables daily, encouraged the consumption of protein-rich foods like meat and eggs instead of vilifying natural fats, and advised consuming 4 tablespoons of cold-pressed olive oil daily, while severely limiting sugar and refined grains, such as processed bread and crackers, and eliminating candy and junk food. As you can see, the plan included all of these recommendations. It is quite unfortunate that Lois Light and her team proposed guidelines that were rejected by the USDA. Instead, a modified version was released, significantly different from the original. The new guidelines advise Americans to consume 6 to 11 servings of grains per day, equivalent to consuming 13 slices of bread or almost a whole box of sugary cereal. This is quite a significant increase from the initial recommendation of just 2 to 3 servings. Interestingly, the new guidelines still include American sliced bread as an incredibly healthy option. Don't get me wrong though, bread has certain benefits. However, most of the bread on grocery shelves is far from being a nutrient powerhouse. It contains a ton of preservatives, additives, and highly processed substances. However, the dietary pyramid misled us, thinking we should be filling ourselves with bread. But why would they act in this way? It all boils down to money. As you may have predicted, our consumption of grains increases the revenue generated by these enterprises. It's a terrible reality, but it's time we acknowledged our dietary choices are influenced.
Food pyramid that we were taught in school about said the recommended amount for bread, cereals, and grains was 6 to 11 servings a day. 11 bowls of cereal a day. 11 slices of bread a day.
While the recommended portions for meat, fruits, and vegetables were deemed unappetizing. The introduction of the food pyramid in 1980 aimed to promote healthy eating habits, but obesity rates continued to rise despite this effort. People only paid minimal attention to the recommended diet and blindly followed the norm. Lois Light claims that the grain industry was the top bidder in the sale of the food pyramid, leading to the creation of our government's dietary guidelines. These guidelines suggest that carbohydrates make up more than half of our daily calorie intake, while saturated fats should be limited. Specifically, the first recommendation states that 50 to 55% of our calories should come from carbs, mainly from grains. The American Heart Association has been promoting the elimination of saturated fats from our diets since the 1960s due to their negative impact on cardiovascular health. Out of the 11 individuals, 6 of them had financial connections to the food industry. Federal policies are in place when a student goes through the the school lunch line. Burgers with cheese are offered and milk is heavily subsidized. But finding vegetables and fruits can be challenging because the government awards contracts to meat and other producers. Unfortunately, this decision does not prioritize the health and well-being of the students. Flipping the food pyramid upside down may be necessary as it currently places butter and fat at the top. It is surprising to see how thin everyone in the crowd looks, making us appear like a completely different race. Taking a closer look at past objections can provide useful insights. Industry influence. Critics have pointed out that major food and agricultural companies may have influenced the food pyramid due to lobbying and financial factors. This could have resulted in certain meals being given more attention and promotion. As a result, certain food groups may have been prioritized over others, potentially compromising the nutritional balance recommended for the overall population. Simplistic approach. Many nutritionists believe that the food pyramid was too simplistic in its approach to nutrition and did not consider individuals' dietary needs or cultural differences. While it provided a clear representation of food groups, a one-size-fits-all strategy may not be sufficient to address the complexities of individual health. High carbohydrate emphasis. The food pyramid strongly emphasizes high carbohydrate foods like grains. However, critics argued that this could lead to an overconsumption of refined carbs, worsening conditions like diabetes and obesity. Lack of differentiation between healthy and unhealthy choices. The food pyramid had a flaw in it that did not differentiate between healthier and less healthy options within each food group. For example, the fats category did not distinguish between good fats, like unsaturated fats, and bad fats, like trans fats. This could lead people to believe that all foods in a category are equally healthy. Inadequate updates. The food pyramid did not keep up with new dietary recommendations that emerged over the years. This lack of updates caused criticism that the advice might have become outdated. In 2011, the USDA introduced MyPlate to address concerns and improve upon the food pyramid. MyPlate is a more straightforward illustration that divides a plate into 4 sections: fruits, vegetables, grains, and protein, with a side portion of dairy. The purpose of this visual aid was to provide a clearer and more practical representation of a well-balanced meal. So, how can we avoid being fooled by the food pyramid trick? It's actually quite simple. Begin by being mindful of what you eat. Strive for meals that are filled with nutrients and color, and select wholesome, unprocessed foods. Your taste buds will thank you for trying new fruits, vegetables, and meats. The crucial factor here is educating ourselves. Take the time to read labels, understand the ingredients in your food, and make informed choices. Don't let a flawed pyramid dictate how you live your life. Now is the perfect time to prioritize our health and take charge of our food choices. Instead of relying on the outdated food pyramid, let's aim for a more colorful and nutritious plate. By collaborating and spreading awareness, we can make informed decisions that benefit our physical and mental well-being.